Well, Father Nolan, I was going to ask you, congratulations on just getting ordained. I was going to say, what type of reaction are you getting from people in church? But you actually haven't celebrated Mass yet.
No.
It's this week, isn't it?
This weekend.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and Father Tony, you're the only one that's celebrated Mass so far, isn't it?
I was the first one to go. Because I suppose maybe I was geographically, home for me is closer, coming from Belfast. And we had a great celebration on Monday night.
Okay, so Father Nolan, the pressure's on now, is it?
The pressure is on.
Big sermon?
Yeah.
It won't be too long. I've assured friends and family of that, but I will put some preparation into it. You know, it's an important time, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going down.
Is it a nervous thing? It is probably. You've probably done a lot of preaching, but you know, it is the key part of the Mass and of what a lot of people will see you as on the pulpit.
But I think even when I'm preaching, and we over the years of training, we would have done that a number of times, and would have been encouraged to do it. I think every time you do it, you're nervous, and I think if you're not nervous, then there's probably something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it brings a little bit of adrenaline in. Yes, I'm nervous about the weekend, but I'll be surrounded by friends and family and people who know me in the church, and that will help me to get through it, and I'd have these guys there with me as well.
Yeah, slagging you from the pews. Yeah. What about the fact that you are all you're 31, Father Nolan, 31. And what about the fact that everybody in the church will probably be a lot older than you? Do you kind of feel a bit under pressure that there you are trying to preach to people who probably are wiser and got more experience?
I mean, it's something certainly that I think about. When I see the people in front of me, when I'm preaching, what I try to do is I try to relate what I'm preaching to something that I need to change in my own life. It's not that I'm telling people that I have all the answers and this is what you should be doing. Very much my life is in what I'm bringing across to people in my preaching, and I, as much as anybody else, needs to reflect and to be challenged and to look at various areas of my life. So it comes across that way in my preaching.
A few things, sorry Sybil, just that I wanted to ask you, as priest, just as you start embark on your life as priest, just a few things that I've often wondered about. Does loneliness ever enter your head? The fact that you could be in a parish house in 30 years' time and the only person you might see in the evenings is the housekeeper or something like that, and apart from your parish work, that's the only interaction you might have.
I think the fact that we live in community
that's a help.
Is a huge support. So you're not going into a house on your own generally. We live in monasteries, some of them big, some of them smaller. Where I live in Cherry Orchard, there are 4 of us. I live with 2 others in a small house. So generally you're not going home in the evening to an empty house. You have people there to chat with, to help you, to support you if there's something going wrong, if you're finding it difficult.
But you find it difficult, as you said, coming from a large family, the family-run shop, the business, people must have been milling in and out all the time. Is that something that sort of plays in your mind?
Well, I still have quite a lot of people milling around, maybe not in the shop, but certainly as I work with people on parish missions and in Limerick as well, there are always people around. In fact, the challenge would be to try and get a little bit of quiet time by myself. But I'd say no matter what walk of life you're in, whether it's married, single, separated, whatever it is, loneliness is bound to be a part of every life at some stage. I don't think we'd be human if that wasn't a part of it. So I'd say whatever we choose to do with our life, each choice, brings its own ups and downs, and that's a part of every life at some time or other.
This might sound like a weird question, but would you be encouraged to do things like video games and Wii's and all that stuff? Because typical young men.
I think I could do with a go on Wii Fit.
We all could.
But the way everybody, young guys are all interested in gadgets and iPhones,
or Twittering and all that stuff.
Facebook.
I came from electronics background, so I would be known in the community as the gadgets man, and
he fixes all our computers.
And anybody who can't work their computer, I'm generally called on to do that, you know. So and I enjoy it because it keeps me up to date on what's happening in relation to that world of electronics, and keeps me interested. It's almost a hobby for me at this stage.
So that's all encouraged. I mean, violent video games and all that.
Well, I presume the censor would take care of all of that, you know, whatever is appropriate. The state censor, that is. But like when I go home, I've got nieces and nephews, and they have Wiis. They're used to PlayStations. I'd be more comfortable with the PlayStation. Well, we try out the Wii. But then on the internet, like as Redemptorists, we have our websites. There's the general one, redemptorist.ie. There's a vocations one, redsvocations.ie. And then there are, I don't know if we have Twitter or Facebook yet, but a lot of fellas would have their own Facebook and Twitter, and they'd be tweeting away there. Have you a Twitter?
I don't.
Someone manages it for her.
I don't. Tweet. Is it Twitter? No. I'm too old for Twitter, I think. Do you Twitter? Tweet? No. You'll have to tell us all later how you do it. Okay.
Tony, could I just ask you how you feel, just another area, a la carte Catholicism, how would you approach that if someone, you know, says to you, I want to book a christening, and you may not have seen them from one end of the year to the other, a communion, the big limo pulls up. Do you just sort of allow people practice their faith whatever way they see fit?
Well, I wouldn't presume that anyone who presents themselves, you know, to receive the sacraments would be a la carte or anything like that. My presumption would be that what they are doing is making a choice in good faith. You know, that they want the best for their son or their daughter, and baptism for them, bringing them into the faith community, is a big part of that. Yeah. That certainly would be my approach. Holy Communion is again, it's another step along becoming a full member of the church. Christ, I don't think, would turn people away, so why would I do that?
Okay. All righty. Well, where does the Catholic Church go from here? After the break, we'll be discussing what changes the Church should consider making moving forward. Stay with us. Back in a minute.